In a public meeting before we went into closed session, haven't we already?
This is a regular meeting, so we need to
Do it again. I'm here, but maybe not mentally.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yep.
Vice President Mueller.
Here.
And President Feldman.
Here, pledge of allegiance.
Today we do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, veterans. Sweet.
Now for public comment.
Because we were unopposed, so we didn't show up. We got our
All
money.
members of the public present, you can go to the first item of business on the agenda, which is to consider and reaffirm Resolution 2021-06, making findings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, that the proclaimed state of emergency continues to impact the ability to meet safely in person. Can I have a motion?
Well, we're all here. I don't.
Yeah, we're here. Why would we do that?
I thought we have to do it.
Yeah, you have.
If you don't do it for the next meeting, you might not be able to use the hybrid.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's do it then. All
I
right,
thought
I'll
we
make
did it. It was part of the. I think, my recommendation is you always
Yes.
want to have
Okay,
hybrid.
can I
have a motion?
Yeah, I like you on a hybrid door open.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we reaffirm by motion Resolution 2021-06, making findings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361 that proclaim the state of emergency continues to impact the ability to meet safely in person. I can do it all in one breath.
Can I have a second?
Second that.
Okay, roll call.
Director Coverdale.
Yes.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yep.
Vice President Mueller.
Yes, your family knows you're at the meeting because it's an emotion now.
President Feldman.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next item is the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar anyone wishes to discuss or ask to have for the later agenda?
Not me.
And for the record, I did review the claims and found them to be in order.
Thank you.
I move we approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Okay, Director Coverdale.
Yes.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yep.
Vice President Mueller.
Yes.
And President Feldman.
Yes. All right. Any meetings attended or director comments? Okay, hearing none. I'll go to general business. Ask Mary to review the district's financial model and propose water service rate adjustments, etc.
So at the October 11th, 2022 regular board meeting, the board approved the scheduling of a public hearing during the December 13th regular board meeting at 7 p.m. on the proposed rate adjustments to be effective January 10th, 2023 and January 19th, 2023 and January 18th, 2024. So what I wanted to do was just give the board an opportunity to see this again and the public. Because we'll be meeting next month on the rate adjustments. So just to give a recap of where we're at, we really started down the road on looking at rate increases back in when we finalized our O&M budget in June in our capital improvement program. So these are used as tools to be in the modeling efforts by Raftellus, our financial consultants who we engaged in June. We met in August with the finance committee and Raftellus, and then on August 24th, we had a special meeting, a financial model workshop. And at that time, we discussed various alternatives to our with our model, and including up to a potential of 6% rate increase effective in January and 6% in January 24 with a $7 million debt issuance. We with the Finance Committee again in October 2022. And at the board meeting, as I mentioned, we again reviewed the proposed rates, and Raftellus presented the model and the basis for the water shortage rates. And the board set a public hearing for our December board meeting, and also authorized the issuance of a public notice that
Yeah, it was excellent.
went out in on October 27th. And thank you, Kathleen, for doing I think a great job in getting this all together. As we're looking at the future, we are publishing in the Half Moon Bay Review over the next 2 weeks. And then we will be meeting again, for a public hearing on the 13th. And just to recap, thank you to Raftellus for their slides, but this was presented last month as well. This is how the modeling works with the 6% increase, and then figuring financing in 2025. Our reserve balances are in line with our rate increase. And this was a result of of the board looking at the model when we're playing, we looked at it in terms of sensitivity to the rates and the combination of rate increase versus potential loans. If we do nothing, and if we didn't have any rate increase, we would soon be out of money. So I just threw this in because this is a status quo, no rate increase. So it just shows that we have to have a rate increase for our operations and for our CIP. Our rate schedule shows we have a 6% rate increase across the board on all rates. We use the 2018 cost of service analysis for the structure of the rates. So the 6% were applied to to each of the categories. So you'll see like tier 1 will go from 1014 to 1075 under the new rate structure. And so you can see the rates, how they're effective. One of the tables we included in our notice is this one that shows what happens to a bill. So this is so with the 6% adjustment, a bill that's of 6 units per month, which is pretty much our average bill overall, will go up $6.13 a month.
Point of technical question. I guess I'm getting fuzzy like Ken. When you say no rate increase, you meant never have a rate increase.
Yeah, if we didn't have a rate increase. Yeah,
ever. That's why it goes down to minus.
Right.
If we didn't have one this time, it wouldn't go all the way down there because we'd have them later. I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I'm just checking.
But
we would have to have bigger ones going forward, but this is never having one.
Yeah, this is,
okay, just wanted to be sure I was.
This is if we didn't have one next year, we would go down to 8.4 million, and then the next year we would really go down.
Yeah, okay, sure. If we didn't raise rates.
If we didn't raise rates.
Okay, just checking.
So so we also discussed water shortage rates, and with our 218 requirements, they're designed to recover lost revenue due to reductions in water usage and differences in water purchase costs. There are surcharges tied to specific drought stages, and they provide some financial flexibility for the board to be during water shortages. The big issue, the big takeaway on this, however, is that their water shortage rates are not automatically applied. They have to come as a result of a board action. So they're discretionary by the board. And then subsequent to that you'd have to have a 30-day notice as well. So I included this chart. This basically shows our stages where your reduction goal, if we had, in stage 2, it's 20%, 30%, in stage 3, 40%. So these are the reductions that we're, meant to cover with our water shortage rates. And the big questions are, how much, what to consider for drought, reduced commodity revenue, due to cutbacks, changes in our water purchase costs, this SFPC. So with these proposed water rates, you can, so it's the top part of the chart shows the incremental increase. So in if we're in stage 2, where we're at, we're currently, I'll go down the next chart, stage 2, come January, we'd be at $10.75 for per unit. You would add $4.37 to that per unit charge.
That's a latte. Cost of a latte is more.
So how these were designed, the goal of it is that if you are conserving appropriately, your bill, you're not going to see a big difference in your water bill. But if you don't conserve, you see an increase in your water bill from going from around this 108 to 138 if you still use the same amount of water. And this is in like a stage 3, it's an example of if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you shouldn't see an increase in your bill, but you would if you didn't conserve. So I mentioned that these aren't automatic. The board has the discretion in a drought to implement a lower water shortage rate than what was shown in those, in the charts, to potentially use reserves, defer capital projects, or any combination of the above. But so they're a tool to be that are used. They're based on these rates. Actually, we worked with Ractelis last year and designed these rates. They're applied uniformly across all tiers and classes. So this, with this version, right, the adjustment that we're proposing for to implement in January is just recognizing the 6% rate increase on our water service rates. So the next step is going to our public hearing. So does anybody have any questions or?
Have we received any formal comments, complaints
Next door.
from our
Official protest was only been one.
customers? I'm sorry.
Official protest, we received one.
Official in the format that we normally, I know there's been stuff on next door. We've got one official.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you planning an information pamphlet on what we're spending the money on?
In my next discussion on CIP, we did prepare something, and we didn't include this when we sent things out, sent the notice out, because the notice was getting so big. But we are going to include this on our website, and so it will be available showing.
So we're not mailing it out?
No.
I'm not sure. It shows what we've done.
But how many people go to our website to look that up? I've had a bunch of people complain that we didn't explain what we're spending the money on in our rate increase. And so I bring that to the board and say, people are saying they got a rate increase. We didn't say what we're spending the money on. And so I think that it's important that I share that with the board and kind of say, how do we want to message this? And what I don't want the perception that we're not managing the funds well. I want people to understand that we're actively doing positive things for the benefit of the system. And basically, the people who spoke to me said they didn't get that from the graphs and the spreadsheet. I don't think they liked reading. I don't think they're graph people. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's not in here. It never has been in our rate.
No, that's not true. In the past, when we've done rate increases, we've done a two-sided infomercial, if you will, showing pictures of stuff we fixed and done. And it brought our complaint level or our protest level to the lowest level we've ever done. And so to not do one for this rate increase, I'm cautious that we may get more protests than we have in the past. So,
well, we can also consider putting out a constant contact, an emailing to all our customers with this.
Well, not to all, only
Or
people who subscribe to the newsletter.
I think there's still a movement of not collecting from unpaid water bills. District bills too. From the state. I brought you an article that was in the Chronicle this last week. So that's cautious too there. And if you look at October, we spent $750,000 to run this system, with our expenses around that range. So it doesn't just happen.
Is it
It's expensive. I'm done.
The next mailing for bills is until December 1st, right? Could you put it in in the mailer, in the bill? I
don't know if we have enough time to print them.
that goes to everybody.
Yeah.
That's one way to get it on a piece of paper that they get with numbers, their bill, et cetera, and saying, here's what your money, this is what it's being used for.
yeah.
I'm just asking. His idea is a good idea. I didn't realize that.
Is it possible to do it where in the bill, all we have to have is a simple message on it that says, please look at XYZ spot on our website for this information and have this page show up on our website, because then people that are really interested have an easy way to do it and they still get it in writing.
Historically, the group that have been the most upset, the most vocal have been the seniors and the group that isn't going to use aren't going to use the internet to go and search it out. And that's the group that responds really well to the photos and the pictures showing the infrastructure and saying what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's really important that we recognize who that group is and how they communicate and how we reach out to them.
Saying something like this page.
That's what we went from something like 80 protests down to like 15. And we did it when we came out with a 2-page, 4-sided picture of the projects we were doing. And that was very successful. And I'm really concerned that by abandoning that in this rate increase, we're going to feel the bite in the rear end from our constituents, because they've just gone through a pandemic. Things have been chaotic. We're going to be stressed with not collecting on unpaid bills. So we're going to have future stress and conflict with the community. We've got conflicts with changes in a large percentage of our constituents who are going to have a change in their water bill for the moon side thing. And so I'm concerned that we need to step up our game on how we communicate what's going on to the public.
So again, if we took something like this and inserted it into the bill mailing, would that be a possibility to get to them?
Not all of our customers get paper bills, they'll get electronic.
Okay.
I think
Not the most effective.
Maybe you guys think about maybe an email plus whatever.
we'll look into that, because I think the people you may, or you're talking about targeting usually get paper bills. So we could potentially look at this and look at this as stuffer in our next.
And another alternative is to take out, it may be the same cost as to take out a page of ad in the Half Moon Bay Review and do it that way.
Not
We haven't
everybody
typically
does that
done
either.
that, but I feel like,
Not here.
if we don't do it, we're going to get bit. I rest my case. I'll leave it to the rest of the team, you guys.
We'll look into a stuffer, and also I do think we could potentially get to a good portion of people who don't get paper bills by our newsletter. So we can do that as well. Combination.
Newsletter.
A water letter.
So any other?
No, that's good. Thank you. No, good job. It's not easy to do this. All right, so next thing on the agenda, you'll be doing this at the December 13th meeting.
It's December.
I have to have meeting as a frontispiece to the presentation, even talk to these things, maybe give a list of the things we did at the front end. I mean, the complaints will be here already, but you can at least make that, the frontispiece of why is this? Why do we need to do this? And list the key things we've done. And we've done a lot of them, maybe including this picture plus whatever you want to list. That would be a way to do the front end of the final meeting.
Good idea.
Is that good?
It's a great.
One last time, just so at least it helps people.
Something else that came up this week is people in Montara got their property taxes. And I had 3 people ask me why there was a water bill on it. I had to point out that we're Half Moon Bay, Coastside County Water District. But just so the board remembers, Montara Sewer and Water, which is showing that their water rates are less than ours, has taken half their bill and put it onto the property tax. And so that bill just came in and a bunch of people are asking me why it's so high. And so it's important for this board to remember that we are putting all our bill on paper each month and not splitting part off and hiding it on a property tax bill. So that's important for this board to remember. I live in the north end.
No, it's good. No,
So that people sort
I
of
wouldn't have known.
drift
otherwise.
across where their bills come, where their water and bills are coming from.
Yeah, as I understand it, some people say they still get a water bill, but I said, I think you get part of it on the property.
You do. They get half. They get both.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's why Montara is able to say that their water bill is lower than ours,
Oh,
because they're cutting the bill in half and putting half on the property
that
tax.
helps.
Okay, yeah.
And this board,
Smoke and mirrors.
this board has chosen not to do it.
Good.
And it means that we need to remind our constituents that there are different ways of running water utilities, and we want their feedback on how we're doing.
What you see is what you get.
That's what we're shooting for.
Transparency here.
Transparency. No, that's good. Good point.
Thank you.
All righty, next thing on the agenda is capital improvement program update.
So at the last board meeting, the board requested staff provide an update on the progress of our capital improvement program. So we met with our facilities committee on October 21st and went through our CIP. That we had questions on how, from the board and then looking at our current run rate, we spent 1.5 million to date, and our plan is 8 million. So we are, so I want to go through, we're looking at, one of the issues that we've encountered this year. We've had basically a 6-month delay with our Nunes water treatment improvement project. We were operating, running a clip of 500,000 a month on our bills, for that improvement project. We are hopeful that we're going to be able to start after the first of the year again and ramp up. So that is contributing probably at least to like $1 million shortfall that will be made up in the probably, or, in the early part of our next fiscal year. So it's we're obligated for the money. We're still working on the project, but we've been delayed. In looking, first of all, before I bring up, looking at where we're at with projects, I think we all need to be really, we're really proud of things that we've done at this point. The completion of the water line replacement under Mrs. Creek from Strawflower to Phyllis Oak Avenue, that is like a major accomplishment that we have been working on really for the last 3 years through environmental and getting permits, and that went on without any issues, and we're really excited about that. It really increases the resiliency to the coastside because that pipe supplies water from Strawflower to the south of town. So we're down as a redundant pipe. So it's really important. The other piece that we're starting on is $1.7 million project out at Grandview. You've seen the activity. We've completed getting the pipe underneath Highway 1, and now we're working on the neighborhood. And so that project should be completed in late
Mid-December.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's quick.
So we're continuing work on our, as I said, Nunez. We have a number of designs, pipeline designs in process. We also have a number of them in, ready on the shelf to be able to roll out with bid docs and things for, if we need to, if we have to plug and play over the next, couple of years with moving projects up. So those are good things. We're also 100% on our Carter Hill tank design. So, we now have some things we have to consider in terms of some potentially environmental work and some things, but we're, really ready to push forward on that project. So it's all good stuff. I'm going to share my screen just to share.
Are there many?
Oh, sorry, that's not.
There was a merger.
One second, I'll share. I'll share the right one.
Sectional tanks. That killed up. Yeah, they blew out. They fixed that. They went out of business. They were out of business fast.
Just get this, sorry.
Nice, the air conditioning's warming up.
Great. Put another jacket on.
I got it.
So what I wanted to do is just go through the projects and where we're at quickly, and James can interject. We're still leaving, the initial equipment purchases, SCADA, and the vehicle replacement. We actually had some really good news this week. The board had approved a vehicle in August, and the vehicle fell through. And so we were concerned about needing to come to the board to increase the dollar spend and to let us go and look at, out on lots. But we actually had a phone call and we were able to purchase a Ranger this week at $34,000. So
Was that MSRP?
It was.
They
didn't mark it up.
Oh, who'd you get it from?
Redwood City, Town Ford. Frank Naughty told the young kid, "We want Coastside back." So,
nice.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
It's $1 over MSRP.
Yeah,
wow.
And they put a half tank of gas in it. Those days are gone. So I was really pleasantly surprised because a 150 is going to cost us $45,000.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
Luckily, Mary didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
so anyway, it was good news for us because we're looking at potentially with ordering 2 years out for vehicles and prices going up. And so tonight you're going to be asked to approve a fire hydrant order. We have a repair we need to do in Hillis's Canyon. We'll probably do in June. That could roll into the summer. In terms of our pipeline replacements, we've completed, the Pelosia's pipeline. We are working on Highway 92 for a replacement of part of the pipeline on the Cosolino property. We're working on extending the pipeline, and given timing, we probably, in between Christmas trees and pumpkins and everything else, we probably can't get that done till next fiscal year. So we pushed that one out. We have a Grandview pipeline replacement. We have there's a crossing at Meadow Creek. We've discovered that we need to it was PG&E thought it was their pipe, and we discovered it was our pipe. And so we are working with EKI on solutions, and we'll be coming to the board with a solution to look at.
Yeah, I was afraid you're going to drill through it. They're building a bridge there.
Yeah.
Cutting big footings and.
It's further downstream.
That's further down. This is in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh, that's down in the hood? Yeah, on Alameda or something?
Yeah, on Alameda.
Yeah.
The other new one, on this one is moving up. We had figured that we would have to, we wondered what we needed to do with Poplar, and we had a replacement out in many years out. And the city is moving forward. They have funding for doing the east side of Poplar. And they're going to go in April. So we need to get our pipeline replaced on Poplar, the east side, really, sometime in the next 3 months. So we're going to be coming to you with a proposal soon. But this is EKI is working on the design and the bid docs, and so and again, this is moved up from further out. Moving down on, we're kind of finishing up the design on, pretty much at 100% on the Carter Hill Tank project. Have some other, odds and ends things, but we would like to get that moving. So, we have it slated starting in next year, going into 2024, 25. We're looking at, the various well field replacements. We feel we really want to get on, look at the Denison well fields as a priority. So we've identified a consultant, and we're, working to get started on a consulting study of our wells. So starting well, field replacements, because we feel that would provide the district with really some of the best, I guess, return for our investments on wells, because it really, having those wells really help us to extend using Denison the water source. It puts us over the edge, and for maybe a few extra weeks of using Denison. So it's a good piece for us. We'll soon be we're working on a proposal for fire sprinklers, probably going to be less money than 150. So, but we'll be coming, we've talked with the board, we'll be coming with our committee, and we're working on solutions, but we need to get our fire sprinklers replaced. The other piece, and this is just a placeholder, we want to look at what we can do with the screens in Crystal Springs Reservoir. So we had some, issues, in the August, September timeframe with taking water from different levels in the reservoir. So we're working with, we're starting to talk to Kennedy Jenks, the original designers of Crystal Springs, about possible solutions. So that's just in its infancy. We don't know what it's going to, end up with, but we're looking at, trying to get some ideas on because we had some valves or actuators in the tunnel at one point in time.
Long ago, there's actuators so you could select between the two screens that are at different elevations.
What's the elevation difference?
20 feet. So that you can select, have the upper or the lower, which one you want on or both. Historically, we never needed it. I think a decade ago, we were spending so much money on these giant actuators that were actuating butterfly valves that Davis pulled them out, and we put the butterfly valves in the lake underneath the screens. Now we're realizing that we do need to be able to push a button and select between one or the other screen. And staff has some great ideas. We might go to a pneumatic valve rather than a big torpedo actuator that fails. And KJ is helping us maybe get in touch with a dive firm that would actually go in the tunnel so we don't have to drain it twice. So we've got some momentum behind it and some good ideas.
The big deal is the bottom of the reservoir has a bad quality water. You want to be able to isolate that off. And that's why it was designed with two different screens. And we lost that ability. So that's, we had a water quality event. It wasn't good. And this is our best defense.
Thank you.
So moving on, we continue to do work on the San Vicente Denison Water Supply Project. And this is largely our engineering and our balanced hydrologics, our engineering and consulting related for this year. And we'll see about more expenses for as we look at a construction project.
Does Balance does hydrological reporting on San Vicente, but do they also do it on Denison?
Yes.
So we get the information, the data on both.
Correct.
We hope to recycle water project. We're, hopefully this week submitting a feasibility study grant application, but we are also in the process of identifying possible consultants to help us on that. So I hope, in the first of the year, we can get going on a feasibility study.
We're going to fire that up.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time. It's very complicated. A lot of risk.
So I did lower the estimate for what we would be spending and just giving it out a year on the Venus.
No.
And we have some projects that will be coming to you on the sodium hypochlorite generator replacement and our contact clarifier patch. The Nunes magnetic meter is underway, and you've approved the parts for that. So in adding these up, it's like 7.7 versus 8.2. Now, whether I'm betting on that we'll get to that to 7.705, with probabilities, it maybe in the 7 million range, but the thing is that we're committed to the Nunes money. And when we do our modeling and we look at an average 5-year modeling of our CIP. So.
You had the capital committee review this. I mean, they did some diligent work in trying to review this, reset things that might be possible. And I think they've done a good job of trying to present what might be a way to do a few tweaks. It's clear the spend rate was affected mainly by the Nunes plant delay, which was something that was totally unable to be controlled because of the supply chain situation resulting from the virus issue that went on for a number of years. And that sort of caused a lot of this spend delay. We're trying to find other ways to bring things in, and you're doing that. And so hopefully we'll do the best we can to do what we can. It's not a lack of a desire or ability. It's a lack of we want to get things together that we need to make this happen from the external people that supply us, which is happening everywhere in the industry and in the construction business now. So just got to keep plugging and forging ahead. I think the plan is good. It's a question of just keeping at it like we're doing.
I think following that up, Mr. Chair, I mean, we can't thank staff and the professionalism and the committee, subcommittees to look to the future of this district. And I mean, that's 75 years that we've worked on. I try to tell people if we want another 75, we got a great team in place to do that. So thank all of you.
Other comments on that? I have one technical question. We've gone to a January rate increase process and doing that year by year. We're still on a fiscal July to June process.
Yeah.
Is that something that's normally, I'm just asking, is that out of sync at all, or does it still works okay for you?
I think,
You're the financial.
no, I think that's fine. You know, our
just wondering.
districts on fiscal years, and we also, and so it is, and all our, our structure is all, audit. And I actually, in terms of the rate increase, I think it's the time of the year of starting in January, because it is the time where our usage is the lowest as well. So the impacts are.
Sure. And the fiscal year is kept, the rate increase is kept in mind with our fiscal year approaches, and that's the way we do all the numbers.
Yeah, the only thing with, with the budget, I do, when we finalize our rate increase, we'll add that into the revenue budget.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is purchase of 20 cloud hydrants from Core and Main.
Go ahead and make a motion. I make a motion. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. You can make a motion. Hydrants aren't that interesting. I'm sorry. They're expensive, obviously.
They're really expensive. Let's buy them.
3 years ago, we bought $350,000 worth. I think they're $2,800 a piece then.
Yeah.
Think of all the money we saved.
So should we be buying more?
Not right now.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm hoping the price will go down a little bit. But we waited. We're down to 20, so we need some more.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We authorize the general manager to purchase 20 Cloud 2065 bronze wet hydrant for $102,77.16 from Core and Main.
Second.
Do I need to clarify, Patrick?
Yes.
We are waiving the sealed bid requirement for proper procurement Patrick has brought up. If you want to say that better.
If you can just include in the motion to waive the sealed competitive bidding requirement and the policies and procedures of the award of contracts.
Got it. Okay.
You do that, and then.
So we can't go to Cloud directly.
No, they go through a distributor.
Yeah.
But just to reiterate so that everybody's not familiar, there's two styles of hydrants. There's a dry barrel, which is made for freezing climates. There's a wet barrel, which is made for non-freezing climates. We have legacy dry barrels, which are a nightmare to service and repair. Most water utilities repair them by pulling them out and throwing them away. And so what James is doing is switching us to a wet barrel where the valve is up in the top of the hydrant so you can service it right there. It's way, way better a hydrant. And the bronze hydrants are great. They hold up better than the ductile. So I'm a big fan. So let me redo I make a motion that we waive the sealed bid requirement. Did I say that right, Pat?
Yep.
Okay, and we authorize the general manager to purchase 20 Cloud 2065 model bronze wet barrel hydrants for $102,771.16 from Core and Main.
I second that. I think thank you for the education. We're so lucky to have all of you. And just in discussion, I'm just curious because people have asked me, is there anywhere in the state where fire districts or cities assist in the funding for fire service? Fire
We
hydrants?
like that a lot.
They don't like it? Okay. It goes to water districts.
No,
Simple as
big
that.
time.
Okay.
But the good news, John, actually, that makes that really fine, it means we are the final authority on them. And so we get to decide where they go, how they go in, we maintain them, and we are responsible for them. And they have a big impact on our water system. So it's actually really beneficial to have that under our purview. As sort of the person, we're responsible for quality and flow. And so having that big piece under our jurisdiction really helps us a lot. So I get it, it'd be fun to have somebody else pay for funding, but this is a good way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the clarity.
I like fire maintenance.
Roll call, please.
Director Coverdell,
Yes.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yep.
Vice President Mueller
Yes.
and President Feldman.
Yes. Continue item.
Thank you, guys, for sharing that with us.
Item D, consider resolution 2022-12, authorizing the grant application acceptance and execution of the financial assistance agreement with Coastside County Water District. Carter Hill Tank Project. No? Did I? Was it C? Cloud, did
I
I?
guess James had a report, didn't he?
No,
I
not
didn't
yet.
see it.
Let's leave
I'm
it.
still in
7D right now.
I'm still in Mary's.
Maybe.
Mary, you want to take it over here?
Yeah, so EKI alerted us that there was some money out and
What would it be now?
and they are helping us with a grant application. We had actually prepared an application 6 months ago, putting in the Carter Hill Tank Project, and this availability for funds is our tank project would fit in well with the funding arrangements. So I'm asking, so in order to submit the application, we have to have a resolution from the board authorizing me to be able to submit the application and to accept and execute it.
Ken, is this your moment?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion. We approve resolution 2022-12, authorizing the grant application acceptance and execution of the financial assistance agreement with the California Department of Water Resources for the Coastside County Water Carter Hill Tank Project.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Good job. And any discussion?
Free money.
Welcome.
Yep. Roll call, please.
Director Coverdell,
Enthusiastically.
Director Michelson.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yes.
Vice President Mueller,
Yes.
President Feldman.
Argue with that.
Yes.
Good job.
Can't argue with that. I'm glad to see that we're thinking outside the box and looking
Thank
for
you.
ways
EKI alerted us to that.
Right.
find
Yeah, that
ways
was-
to help fund some of this stuff. And you can't think of a better way to try and take our share of things that are available. And let's hope this goes somewhere, because that'd be excellent.
They
That
give
would be a really
billions
big
away.
win if we can see that one.
They give billions away to
No,
everything
I
else.
think it's a great thing. Let's hope we
Right on the
can,
button.
see it happen. I mean, we're all for this. That's for you. Good luck. Keep us posted.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, next is the monthly information reports. General manager.
I received a letter from Aqua a few days ago, congratulating us on being chosen for Region 5 for the being an outreach award winner. We periodically will support some of the Aqua lobbying efforts and send letters of support. And so we're recognized for that. So
It's all of you.
Good for all of you.
All you.
Good
Thank you.
job. This is, I recollect that we got one.
we did
When, how long ago was it?
probably maybe 3 years
Yeah, it
ago.
was a couple, 3 years ago. We got one before, so that's great. I was really impressed to see, again, this is top in this district, which has, I think, 15, I don't know how many agencies, and there's 459 in the state. And so there were 14, 15 winners, right? 10 winners. We were 1 to 10 out of 400 and plus agencies, water agencies in California. That's really impressive. And then I guess you accept the award at the Aqua meeting coming up at the end of November. And so you guys, you'll be there maybe to do that for us. Cool. So good work.
Nice job.
No, it's all of them.
Nice job.
No, it's amazing.
In addition to all the rest of the things you're doing, my goodness,
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
And some of these other outfits are quite large, so I think you should be very proud. All right, next is the Superintendent of Ops report.
Back. I'm happy to report the Denison Water Treatment Plant has been running during the week, most of October. We're back on with the rain. We're at 350 now and expecting more rain. And luckily, the turbidity didn't shut us down. We also have 150 gallons a minute coming from the Pillar wells right now. And Johnny Bruce is out there checking to make sure we can maximize our extraction during the season. We're taking 300 from Pillar Lake right now. We dredged the Denison Reservoir. It went well. Jim Steele did us right, helped a lot. Andrini did a great job. So I'm pleased to report that. We've got 4 more years in this next permit to keep doing that until we get a longer term permit, hopefully.
So, has there been a net gain over the time that we have been dredging, or are we just kind of?
We're barely gaining on it. We're not losing ground.
We're not losing, and barely gaining.
But isn't
It kind of depends on the rain and how much sand gets pushed in there.
But isn't a part of it that it allows us to drop turbidity out so we have better quality water coming into the intake?
Yeah.
And you just said that with the rain, we didn't have a turbidity spike that shut us down.
Right.
Got real close.
Yeah, but let's go for the win and say it's the dredging's allowing us to drop the stuff down.
You could say
So
that.
when you have a bigger puddle, the velocity of the water slows down and it drops more sediment down. The good news is the treatment plant then has cleaner water. The bad news is you have sediment you have to get rid of.
Right.
And how's the program to train the red-legged frogs to eat that sediment and carry it out?
They're not very smart. Yeah, we're trying. We got Todd in charge of that. Nunes project. We are working with Ranger as best we can to get things going. They're trying. They want to finish the latest development was the last meeting is we had the valve supplier Mueller there and another rep from Bay Valve stating that they're having trouble meeting the domestic requirement. So we have asked them to look at American iron and steel, which is another kind of hybrid of it, where it's not 100% domestic, but the ores come in from other countries and they do the foundry work here. So we're looking at that. That's helping quite a bit. I just got an email from Stephen, the superintendent of construction there from Ranger, and he's saying that at the end of December, we should have all the valves to start the first filter, less a couple of actuators for the air scour system. So we're still waiting on the 24-inch knife gate for the set basin. He keeps hearing November it will ship. So hopefully that will show up. When that shows up, he has the plug valve so we can get the new set basin online once that arrives. We're having trouble getting a VFD for one of the blowers. So if everything works well, they'll be back in January taking out a filter. So we're happy that they're pushing ahead and then we're looking at other options. And the AIS valves are more than the domestic because they got bid 2 years ago, but the supplier has told Ranger they're not going to increase the price at all. They'll honor the old price. So we're trying to move things forward without bleeding a bunch of cash in the process. So I'm pleased with Ranger. They're really trying.
So if they were to come back in January, could they see it through to completion without demobilizing again?
We think so. But we're not going to let them take a filter out to all the parts of there. That's really what we strongly expressed to them. That
Yeah. I don't want to let someone go and piecemeal. It'd be nice to get her done.
Yeah, so we're working on it and they're doing their best. So that kind of covers that project. And I appreciate the board's patience with it. It's been a kind of a disappointment to everyone, but we're going to live through it. Grandview Highway 1 crossing, as Mary mentioned, we're across the highway. They've got about 85% of the main line in. They're going to start on Pacific this next week. They haven't done any services yet, but they're moving right along. And I haven't heard any complaints. The guy who's in charge out there has been doing a good job, and they're working well with the public. So I've been impressed with them. Once they got going, they started really moving. So that's going well. Miramax Point Road, 100% design is expected later in November. Poplar East is in design, and Half-Moon Bay Tank project is 100%, and we're reviewing that now, and hopefully be doing that next year or so. Any questions?
And I'd really like to compliment you on the management of the underground work that went on along Highway 1, because it was so nice to have watched PG&E do their work and then watch CCWD do our work. And it was beautiful. Terrific the way the containment was set up. I couldn't believe the skill level of the operators. They're using 2 excavators inside that fenced area simultaneously. I was blown away. And I just thought they were safe, they were clean. The impact on the community to me looked like zero. And I just was so proud of our organization, your job.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job. And I think whoever did the construction management, obviously they were, working hard for us as well, but it's just clean. And that was a huge hole.
It was.
I mean, that was an enormous thing. I loved watching people look in there, like get out the binoculars. I mean, I don't know how deep they were, 16 feet or
It's 20
feet. I mean, it was fun to watch because it was so well managed.
Yeah.
And that isn't the case. I mean, you've been along the Coastal Trail project.
Oh my God.
These street crossings and things. Oh my gosh, it's wild. And watching them on Medio Creek, excavating for those foundations.
Relative to what we have to go through for the Elk pipeline, I just cannot believe that double standard.
Yeah, we've been shocked to see what's going out there. But thank you, and my hat goes off really to EKI and staff. Darren does a great job keeping things moving, and we have a really good inspector from Cecil and Cecil that EKI found us, and we weren't sure how they were going to perform, so EKI hired them, and we'll be hiring them next time to avoid the markup. And the guy's very experienced, has blown Darren's socks off, and also has a son that wants to be in the inspection business. So we're excited we have a good inspector to go to. That's a tough one to fill.
Boy, hats off.
Thank you.
With our goal of transparency in all things. And that sort of is far more transparent than many of the things we see being done around the coastside. So we're living by that standard and meeting that objective. That's cool. Good work.
Thank you.
All right, now the happy person of the day here who can talk to us about water and rain a bit and things like that, and got a smile
Got
on
rain.
her face today for the first time in a long time. That's good. That means
So, apologies. It looks like I missed a pumpkin on my first line. It was a rough week last week.
I didn't hear that.
So Pumpkin Festival, we had a table on Saturday, and Lisa Solzinger helped me. That day, we had the water bottle fill station with the water dispensers, so people could fill their own containers if they had them, or we had some cups still. And so that was very popular. And then we were able to also have we had some buckets left over from 4th of July. And so we were able to, we managed to give away the rest of the buckets. So we have no more water buckets. We also did something new this year. So October 20th was Imagine a day without water. It's a campaign, national campaign, and they've done it now for quite a while. At least the last, like, I want to say 5 years, maybe longer. And they produced a public service announcement for the radio. So we used that on our local radio station, KHMB. So that was broadcast on October 20th. And then we sent out a newsletter reminding people that it's time to adjust your irrigation for the for the fall season. So hopefully they're getting the message. And then my other item was we now have a newly adopted water loss performance standards by the State Water Resources Control Board. So right now we submit an annual validated water audit to the state every year, and we do it on a fiscal year basis. And with the adoption of these new regulations, we're going to have performance standards, and we're also going to have to submit what they're calling surveys or questionnaires. And I believe those start next year. And so it's quite a bit of, it's an economic model that takes into account your cost of water and all the factors of your system, and it gives you a volumetric standard for real water losses, and they do it in gallons per day per connection. So there's a AWWA meeting tomorrow that I'll participate in we'll discuss these regulations. And then on Thursday, I also going to talk to a consultant, eSource, who Bosca contracts with, to discuss our situation and the new standards that are coming out. So, so those are some big changes coming for the water loss standard. So that was it.
As in all things associated with rulemaking and standards, it sounds like it's going to add some kind of efforts and work to your plate going forward. Is that correct?
Yes, I think it'll impact the entire district, not just me, but the entire district will feel the impact.
As we have told you and counseled in the past, as you see the scope and the need for support, don't hesitate to come back to the board and tell us what it's going to take to do this and who we have to engage as necessary to help you do this, so that you're able to, do this as well as the many other things you do. We're always here to support you in the efforts that you need to apply to making this happen, okay? And that's the reason we're able to do the things we do, is because you find the right people to help support us, as do the other people when they need it. So feel free.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I think it would be good to have a little bit of background with our public hearings regarding a day without water. Because I've lived days without water growing up.
Yeah.
So people don't realize the impact that has on families. So they're lucky we have Coastside County Water District to continue to bring them fresh, safe drinking water.
Yeah, it's a very good national campaign. And, in the broader context, imagine, if there was no water in the fire hydrant to put out the fires for one day, just for one day, I mean, there's a lot we take for granted if your, schools and hospitals didn't have adequate water. So how water really does support the community.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gavin. Record agenda items, request for future board meetings. Any takers in there?
Been doing a lot.
Hearing none, we will officially adjourn our meeting, and thank you all for being here. And
good job. Thanks.
Have a good week.
Glad
good
all
weekend. And
thanks
for the efforts.
Recording stopped.
Thanks to all the directors.
Oh my.